The shadows by the trees started moving closer. I should have listened to my gut when I saw that guy at the trailhead. You know the type. Late 50s, sun-leathered skin, grey beard too neat for someone supposedly living off-grid. He had that fake friendly look that doesn't quite reach the eyes. When he smiled at us, I felt it. The subtle shift in the air like something was off. But we just smiled back and nodded. It was me, my friend Kyle, and Kyle's girlfriend, Jamie. Shenandoah National Park, backcountry camping, no cell service, no rangers for miles. We'd parked off Skyline Drive, hiked in about 6 miles to this clearing, near an unmarked stream. The sun was setting when we got there. We pitched our tents, a cheap Walmart dome tent for me, and a fancy REI half dome for them. Kyle was obsessed with gear. Everything had to be name brand. His Yeti cooler was heavy as hell, and he insisted on bringing this ridiculous Jetboil stove like we were at some gourmet campsite. I just brought my usual trail mix, instant noodles, water filter. That night felt normal. We made jokes, drank half a bottle of Jim Beam, roasted marshmallows. I remember how quiet it was. No wind, no owls, just this eerie kind of stillness you don't notice until you really stop to listen. Jamie kept saying how peaceful it was. But peaceful can turn sinister real fast. Around 3 a.m, I woke up. Not to a sound, just this gut-wrenching feeling that someone was nearby. I didn't hear anything at first, just lay there, sweating, trying to breathe quietly. Then I caught it. A soft crunching. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Outside my tent. I didn't move. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Whoever it was didn't speak. Didn't shine a light. They just walked around, once, twice, then stopped behind me, right outside the thin fabric. I stayed like that for what felt like forever. Then the footsteps started again, fading into the woods. I wanted to call out to Kyle, but I didn't. I couldn't. My throat felt like it was full of glue. The next morning, I didn't tell them what happened. I thought maybe I dreamed it. Jamie was laughing about some TikTok she saved, and Kyle was busy making coffee like nothing was wrong. But then Jamie said something that made me freeze. "Hey," she said, "did you go pee in the night? Your boots are outside my tent." I hadn't, and I didn't leave my boots there. They were placed neatly, toes pointed inward, right outside their tent flap, like someone had set them there. That was day one, and that was just the beginning. I didn't say anything about the boots right away, I just stared at them. My boots, laced, mud-splattered, exactly how I left them beside my own tent. Only now, they were by Kyle and Jamie's tent, like some freak had picked them up, carried them across camp and set them there with surgical precision. Kyle picked them up, tossed them toward me. "Dude, you sleepwalk or something?" I faked a laugh. Yeah, maybe. But my stomach was churning. The rest of the morning, I felt like I was moving through a fog. I kept glancing at the tree line, expecting to see movement. A flash of denim, a glint of metal. Something. But there was nothing, just that suffocating quiet. You don't realize how much noise the world makes until it's completely silent. And that silence, it presses in on you. Jamie wanted to hike to a nearby overlook she saw on Google Maps before the signal dropped. Said it was maybe a mile or 2 east. Kyle was game, always trying to impress her with how wilderness savvy he was. I didn't want to go. I wanted to pack up and leave. But I couldn't say that without sounding crazy. So I said nothing. just followed behind them, with a tight jaw and every muscle wired. About halfway there, we found a small clearing. Jamie was taking pictures. Kyle was pretending to know the Latin names for every plant. That's when I noticed it. A tree, just off to the left, had fresh carvings on it. Not initials, not hearts, just random lines, deep, angry gouges, like someone had taken a knife and slashed the bark again and again. "Hey, you guys see this?" I asked, pointing. Kyle walked over, stared. "Weird, maybe a bear." "No," I said too quickly. "Bears don't do this. These are cuts." Jamie suddenly looked uncomfortable. "Let's keep going." We didn't find the overlook. Kyle insisted we were close, but every path looked the same. And after another half hour, Jamie said she was getting creeped out. She wasn't alone. It felt like we were being watched. I kept glancing behind us, half expecting someone to be standing there in the shadows. Nothing ever moved, but it felt wrong, like the trees were listening. We got back to camp by mid-afternoon. That's when we noticed the cooler was open. Not just opened, emptied. Food was gone. Snacks, lunch meat, water bottles, even the sealed Cliff bars. Just gone. No wrappers, no sign of an animal tearing through it. Jamie stared at it, confused. "You guys didn't touch this?" Kyle looked furious. "It was sealed. I locked it." "I told you," I muttered, my voice shaking. "Someone was here last night." That's when I finally told them about the footsteps. Jamie's face drained. Kyle tried to play it cool, brushing it off like a prank. "It's probably another camper messing with us." "No one else is camped out here," I snapped. "We haven't seen anyone since the trailhead, except that one guy." "The guy with the beard," Jamie whispered. We all went quiet. No one said it, but we all thought the same thing. We had a problem. A very real human problem. Someone was out there, in those woods, and they knew where we were. They'd been inside our camp. They were watching us. Kyle wanted to move camp, hike another mile or two and find another site. Jamie was visibly shaken, but nodded. I didn't want to stay put either. The idea of sleeping another night here made my skin crawl. We started packing fast. Tents down, gear crammed into packs. We were just about ready to go when Jamie screamed. She was standing by the tree line. We ran to her. There, carved into a tree right in front of her, were the words, "You can't run." Kyle cursed under his breath. I felt like I was going to throw up. The letters were deep, fresh, still sticky with sap. And they hadn't been there when we left that morning. Someone had done that while we were gone. We left. Immediately. Fast. No trail, no markers, just a rough southeast direction toward where we thought the next water source was. Every step I took, I imagined someone behind us. Tracking. Watching. Smiling. We found another clearing an hour before dark. Tired, hungry, terrified. And that night, it got worse. We didn't talk much that evening, just set up the tents in tense silence, like our voices might call something out of the dark. I could tell Kyle was trying to stay in control, keep it together for Jamie, but the cracks was showing. He flinched every time a twig snapped underfoot. Jamie was pale and quiet, just going through the motions. I kept scanning the trees. Every branch looked like a figure. Every gust of wind sounded like a whisper. We didn't even light a fire. Too risky, Kyle said. It might attract whoever. That was the word we used now. Whoever. Not he, not they. We didn't know, maybe didn't want to. We just knew someone was out there. That night I couldn't sleep. My tent felt like a coffin. I lay with the zipper half open, knife in hand, heart pounding in my ears. Around midnight, I heard it again. Footsteps. This time they were further out. But they were real, slow, deliberate. Not an animal, not snapping twigs or rustling leaves. Just steady pacing, like someone circling the clearing. Then, a whisper. So soft I wasn't sure if I imagined it. Right outside the tent, "Don't move." My blood ran cold. I clenched the knife, held my breath, praying whoever it was couldn't hear my heart slamming against my ribs. Nothing happened. Just silence. Long, awful silence. Then the steps retreated, fading into the woods. I didn't sleep after that. At dawn, I stumbled out of the tent. Kyle was already up, eyes sunken and wild. Jamie sat on a log, knees pulled to her chest. She looked up at me. "Did you hear it?" I nodded. Kyle showed me his phone. He'd taken a photo. "I couldn't sleep either," he said. "I heard something. Snapped this when I thought I saw someone moving." The image was grainy, blurry, taken through the mesh of his tent. But there was something there, just at the edge of the clearing, partially hidden behind a tree. A shape. A person. Watching. I wanted to throw up. Jamie said she found something near the stream when she went to get water earlier. She didn't want to show us until we were all awake. We followed her down the slope. It wasn't far, maybe 200 feet from the camp. She pointed at the mud. Footprints. But not just footprints. Dozens. Bare feet. Some small, child-sized. Others large. All leading in circles, like whoever it was had walked around and around and around the area, intentionally, in a spiral. Kyle muttered, "What the hell?" Then Jamie pointed further up the slope. Something hung from a branch, tied with fishing line. A small white rabbit, skinned, gutted, head missing. I turned away, gagging. Jamie was crying now. We need to leave right now." We packed in a frenzy, no breakfast, no water. We just grabbed everything and took off, not even bothering to clean up the tents properly. The plan was to bushwhack southwest. According to Kyle's map, if we kept moving, we could hit an old fire road by afternoon. It was rough terrain, steep ridges, fallen trees, thick brush. By noon, we were exhausted. No one spoke. That's when we saw the smoke, a thin column maybe half a mile away rising straight through the trees. Someone was out there, and they had a fire going. Jamie begged us not to go near it. She was panicking. It's him, he's following her." Kyle, trying to be logical, said it might be rangers, or another group of campers. I didn't believe that. Not for a second. Nobody sane was out here, off trail, lighting fires in the middle of this mess. We decided to veer away, circle wide, give the smoke a berth. That's when we found it, in the middle of the trail, just lying there, propped against a stump. My backpack, the one I had on me all morning, still on my shoulders. But there it was, a perfect copy. Same brand, same patches, same knife strapped to the side. I dropped mine immediately, eyes darting. What the... Jamie backed away. No, 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 no. Kyle walked closer, picked it up, opened it. Inside was a note, scrawled in pencil on the back of a map. 3 words, wrong direction, go back. I swear I almost passed out when I read those words. Wrong direction, go back. Kyle dropped the backpack like it burned him. The forest swallowed up the echo of it hitting the ground. Nobody moved. Jamie was crying silently now, hand over her mouth, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. My chest was tight, too tight, like I couldn't get air in no matter how deep I breathed. How did they copy it? I asked, but my voice cracked like a kid's. Kyle didn't answer. He just kept staring at the fake bag, lips trembling. Then, in a flash of rage, he kicked it. Hard. Sent it flying against a tree trunk. I'm not going back, he said. I'm not playing their game. Jamie was shaking. What if they're right? What if they know the terrain better than we do? We don't even know if we're headed the right way. I don't care, Kyle snapped. They want to mess with us. They want us scared. I'm not giving them that. But we already had. We'd been bleeding fear since the first night. We pushed on. The woods thickened. Thorns scratched at our legs. Branches clawed our faces. It felt like nature was turning against us. Like we were trespassers. We weren't hiking anymore. We were fleeing. Barely speaking. Just moving. Following no trail, just instinct and blind hope. We found the old fire road around 3 p.m. Or what used to be a fire road. Now it was barely a scar in the dirt. Overgrown, abandoned. But it was something. It was direction. We followed it west, hoping, praying it would lead somewhere. An access point. A ranger station. Anything. That's when we smelled it. Smoke. Again. Stronger this time. Closer. We turned a corner and stopped dead. There was a fire, a real one. Small but contained, built deliberately with rocks in a tight ring. Someone had been here recently, maybe minutes ago. A tin mug sat near the flames. Steam still rose from it. Coffee or tea, still hot. Jamie whimpered. Kyle motioned for us to back away. We started to turn when we saw the tarp. It was strung between 2 trees, maybe 20 feet beyond the fire. Makeshift shelter, camouflage netting draped loosely over it. Inside were cans, bags, a radio, knives, rope. And then we saw the photos. Tacked to one tree with a hunting knife was a cluster of Polaroids. Us, Jamie brushing her teeth, Kyle tying his boots, me standing at the stream. They were all time-stamped. Different days, different times. All taken from a distance, hidden. Someone had been watching us for days, before we ever saw the guy at the trailhead. I stepped closer, numb, eyes locked on the photos. That's when I saw another knife. Not the one in the tree, one on the ground, one with a hand still holding it. Jamie screamed. Lying half-buried under brush beside the tarp was a body. Male, mid-30s, filthy. Matted beard, torn flannel, dead eyes staring blankly. The left side of his face was crushed in like he'd been beaten with a rock. Vultures had started picking at him. His arm was stripped to bone. Kyle cursed and stumbled back. No, no, this wasn't him, I said, staring at the dead man. This guy wasn't the one from the trailhead. He's not the one watching us. We all knew what that meant. There was more than one. Whoever he was, this guy wasn't him. He was another pawn. Maybe a decoy, maybe bait. Maybe he got caught in their game too and didn't make it out. We had to get out. Now. We didn't pick a direction. We just ran. West, northwest. Didn't matter. By dusk, we found an old deer blind, half collapsed, moss-covered. Kyle decided we'd hole up there for the night. No fire, no noise, just wait for sunrise. We were starving, dehydrated, shaking. We shared one protein bar and a half bottle of warm Gatorade. It got cold after dark. Bitter. Jamie started shivering uncontrollably. I gave her my jacket. She curled up in a corner of the blind, whispering something to herself over and over. A prayer, maybe. Kyle sat near the window, knife in his lap. "I'll keep watch," he said. But none of us slept. Around 2 a.m., we heard it. A sound I will never, ever forget. Whistling. A slow, tuneless whistle drifting through the trees like smoke. Getting closer, closer. Then a voice. "Saw your photos, you look better in person." And then laughter. High, mocking. Right outside the blind. That laughter. It didn't sound like a person. I mean, it was a person. It had to be. But there was something off about it. Too high-pitched, too erratic. Like someone trying to mimic human laughter without fully understanding how it worked. It rose, cracked, stopped suddenly. Then started again. Just outside. We all froze. Even Jamie, who had been mumbling prayers, went silent. Her breath caught in her throat. I felt my bladder clench. The whistling returned. No real melody. Just a few notes, dragged out, repeated. A slow, broken lullaby. And it was circling us. Kyle gripped the knife so hard I thought it might snap in half. I reached for the flare in my bag. One of those orange emergency flares from REI we almost didn't bring. My hand trembled as I clicked off the safety cap. Silence again. The kind that hurts. Where even your heartbeat sounds like a threat. Then a whisper from the woods. "Are you awake in there?" Jamie gasped and clamped both hands over her mouth. Kyle hissed, "Don't move." We heard twigs snap behind the blind. Then, nothing. And that was the scariest part. Nothing. No running, no rustling. Just that vacuum of noise, as if the forest itself held its breath. We stayed like that until sunrise. When the sky finally lightened, we forced ourselves to leave. No sleep, no food. Our mouths were sandpaper, lips cracked, limbs stiff. Every step felt like we were dragging lead. We didn't talk. We couldn't. Our voices felt unwelcome in those woods. Around noon, we reached a small ridge. It wasn't on the map, but it gave us a vantage point. We saw it then, maybe a mile off. A forest road, real, dirt, wide enough for a truck, a way out. We practically sprinted. Halfway down the slope, Kyle tripped. His ankle buckled with a sickening pop, and he screamed. Jamie and I dropped to help him. His foot was already swelling, turning purple. He couldn't put weight on it, not even crawl. I looked at the road. So close. Kyle knew. He gritted his teeth. Go. Just get help. No way, I said. We have to, Jamie whispered. He won't make it through another night out here. I nodded, even though everything inside me screamed, don't split up. I told them I'd mark the path. Come back fast. I gave Kyle the flare. As Jamie and I left, Kyle said, if I see that freak again, I'm not going quietly. Jamie and I reached the road in 20 minutes. It felt like stepping into a new world. Open sky, tire tracks, the distant sound of wind through telephone line. We followed the road west, hoping to find help. About half a mile down, we saw a truck. Old, rusted, but parked at an angle like it had been abandoned. We hurried up to it and froze. On the hood was a dead squirrel, gutted, staked through the middle with a tent stake. Written in blood across the windshield were the words, left him, good choice. Jamie collapsed to her knees. I checked the doors, locked, no keys. Inside were ropes, duct tape, a jar of something unidentifiable, a camera, Polaroids, more of us, Kyle, alone, sitting by a log, from today. They'd been watching us again, even when we thought we were escaping. I grabbed the camera and threw it as far as I could into the trees. We need to go back, I said. We need to get Kyle. But when we returned, he was gone. No blood, no flare, just the flare cap, discarded. A circle of disturbed leaves where he'd been lying. And a note, carved into the dirt with a stick. Should have left sooner. Jamie screamed. I felt something break inside me. There were no tracks, no sound, just the two of us, standing alone in a forest that wanted us. We didn't speak. We didn't cry. We just started walking again. We didn't know where we were going anymore. The road seemed to stretch forever. No signs, no sounds, no people. Then, around dusk, we saw it. A cabin, old, half collapsed, but real, inhabited. A lantern burned inside. We approached slowly, too desperate to be cautious. That's when the door opened, and we saw him again. The man from the trailhead, standing there, smiling, and behind him, hanging on the wall, was Kyle's backpack. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Jamie gasped behind me, then froze. My legs felt like they were filled with wet sand, my body anchored to the spot. The man stepped out of the doorway like we were old friends dropping by unannounced. He was clean. That was the first thing I noticed. Clothes too neat, skin too washed. His beard was trimmed, not scraggly like someone living out here. His eyes, though, dead. Not angry, not wild, just cold, empty, like he didn't see us as people. You lost? He asked. His voice was too calm, too practiced. I opened my mouth. That's my friend's pack. He looked back at it like he forgot it was there. Oh yeah, he said. Found that down by the creek. Where is he? Jamie snapped. Her voice was hoarse but filled with rage. The man tilted his head, then smiled again. Who? Kyle. Where is he? He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped aside and motioned us in. "I got food. You look like you could use something warm." I looked at Jamie. She was trembling. We didn't move. He shrugged and turned his back to us, walking inside. The screen door creaked behind him. Inside, the lantern flickered. Jamie whispered, "He wants us to follow him." I nodded. He doesn't care if we do or don't. That's what scares me. I crept to the side of the cabin, heart in my throat. I peeked through a crack in the wood. Inside it was normal. Mostly. A cot, a table, canned food, some newspapers. But then I saw it, something under a tarp near the corner. It was long, human-sized. And next to it, on a shelf, a collection of small things, shoelaces, locks of hair, ID cards, a cracked iPhone, and a single Polaroid tacked to the wall with a hunting knife. Me, taken from behind, me kneeling at the stream 2 days ago. I staggered back, bile rising in my throat. Jamie caught me. I grabbed her arm. "We're not going in, we're running. Now." We turned and sprinted. No plan, no direction. Behind us we heard the cabin door open, and that damn whistling started again. But this time it was coming from multiple directions, not just him, others. We didn't stop. We crashed through branches, tore through underbrush, scraped skin and snapped ankles. We didn't care. All we knew was away. The sun had gone. Everything was dusk and blur and panic. At some point, Jamie fell, twisted ankle. She screamed. I tried to help her up, but she shoved me. "Go, get help, I'll slow you down." "No, I'm not. Go." I hesitated too long. That's when I saw the figure moving through the trees behind her. Not running, just walking. Steady, icy, with something metal in his hand. Jamie saw it too. She looked at me. "Please," she said. I turned and ran. That was the last time I saw her. I don't know how long I ran. Hours, maybe until morning. I don't remember collapsing, but I must have. I woke up to sunlight and the sound of distant cars. I was lying on gravel. A park maintenance road. A ranger found me. I told him everything. Every goddamn detail. They searched. They found the cabin. Burned to the ground, still smouldering. No backpack, no tarp, no photos, no Kyle, no Jamie. They searched the area for days. Nothing. No footprints, no signs, no bodies. They think I imagined it, or hallucinated. Trauma, starvation, dehydration. That's what the report says. They let me go after a few days. But I know what I saw. I know what's still out there. And I can't sleep. Because sometimes at night I hear it again. Whistling. Not in the woods. Outside my window. And always the same tune. Like a lullaby with no end.